In today's news, the BVI records 2 new COVID-related deaths as cases drop to 415.
Residents are warned of an A.O Shirley Predator. The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force advises residents to report any incidents of assault.
And St. Lucian native named as the new BVI Airports Authority boss.
Opposition leader, the Honorable Marlon A Penn, pays tribute to Stalwart, a businessman, Clarence C. And the dollar will not be affected, nor will ties sever with the UK if the BVI becomes independent. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Welcome everybody. It's Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. A terrific Tuesday to each and every one of you. We are coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And viewers, I'm Kamal Haynes. And we start today's newscast on the subject of COVID-19, where the British Virgin Islands has recorded 2 additional COVID-related deaths, but the recoveries continue to surpass new cases, reducing the total active cases in the territory to 415. But this was confirmed in an epidemiological report from the Ministry of Health dated today, Tuesday, January 25th, where the report stated that the BVI has now recorded a total of 49 COVID-related deaths, which is an increase from the previously stated 47, which was reported on January 19th update. But in addition, the report also informed the public that over the past 6 days, there have been 451 recoveries and 160 new cases. Of the 415 active positive cases, 342 are on Tortola, 62 on Virgin Gorda, 6 on Jos Van Dyke, 2 on Anegada, and 3 on vessels. A further detailed breakdown shows that 191 are local cases and 152 contacts of local cases. The other 72 cases were detected during screening for travel. Where the report also revealed that there are now 13 patients hospitalized for COVID. Ron, here obviously we see, I call this bittersweet news.
Yes.
While we are experiencing a decline, I would say a vast decline in cases, the addition of 2 deaths to the territory is far too much still. I mean, and I think, I honestly think, and most of the public and residents here in the BVI of the same view, that more needs to be said about these deaths as well, because previously during the height of the COVID pandemic in 2020, we would have seen somewhat of a usual press conference, to announce the death, whether it's some information to at least reveal, whether it was a male or female, whether the person was vaccinated or unvaccinated, the age of the person, so that persons can somewhat get an idea of what is really going on with these COVID-related deaths. But as of recent, we just happen to have to sift through these statistics to see whether there was an increase or decrease of the deaths to basically confirm whether there were an increase of deaths as opposed to what was previously done.
Well, Kamal, as you said, it's a bittersweet because we continue to see a decline in cases. However, the deaths continue. Pretty much every time there is an update, it is inclusive of some COVID-19 related deaths. However, I do differ with you in the regards to the press conferences. When we look at the happenings of COVID-19 and how the pandemic has evolved, meaning persons and encouraging persons to now continue to live with it, we have quite a bit of mixed reviews from the community. Some persons believe that we should not be, business community members believe that we should not be receiving statistics at all because it damages our reputation as it pertains to our tourism product on the international and regional scene. And then some persons feel as though the consistent move to continuously have press conferences are also damaging. I do believe, however, when we move are continuing to move in the light of living with COVID-19, it is not particularly warranted, I don't think, for us to have an extreme amount of press conferences. But I do agree with you that the statistics of the persons who have passed away either from COVID or COVID complications as a result should be made aware so that the public holistically gets an idea of perhaps what are some of the contributing factors to these deaths?
But ultimately, what I meant about press conference, let me just correct that as well, because I've been saying we haven't really had a COVID-related press conference for some time.
Understood.
So that's what I meant to say in terms of at least a more frequency of that, whether not just focusing on the deaths, but just focusing on the current situation. Remember, previously it was said that the Omicron variant was the most dominant. What's the latest with that? You know, is it a situation now where we have more Omicron, or is it a situation where the Omicron is fading out? Just to give the public somewhat of an insight, it doesn't necessarily have to be focusing on the deaths per se, but ultimately I'm just saying, like, even when you publish the epidemiological report, you know, you publish it on social media, why not just issue an official press release through government, just at least giving some details of the information regarding the deaths, whether, you know, male or female, something, so persons can at least have an idea regarding such.
All right, viewers, continuing on a very serious story regarding local news. Within the past few weeks, several reports have been made via social media platforms in the Virgin Islands of a predator attacking women at the A.O Shirley recreational grounds in the early mornings. Now, one of the most recent posts really alluded and said, "Ladies and everyone, really, please beware of a man attacking women on the A.O Shirley grounds in the early mornings. 2 women have already been attacked. Be vigilant of your surroundings when walking, exercising in the mornings." Now, our newsroom, of course, reached out to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force from a perspective of getting information as to what is really going on, and their response was, and I quote, "The Royal Virgin Islands Police Force received a report from a female in late December of an assault by a male while she was on the A.O Shirley grounds. No injuries were reported and investigations are ongoing." In addition to that, police say they are continuing their investigations on the matter, and no other reports were made to police of similar assaults since then. Now, however, persons are being urged, they say, to report any similar incidents of assault to police immediately. Anyone with information or needing to report an assault are asked to call 311 or contact the Major Incident Team at 368-5682 or the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force Intelligence Unit at 368-9339. Kamal, very frightening allegations and situations. Of course, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force have confirmed that at least one incident have took place. Now, since the publishing of this story, many residents have taken to our platform and social media really saying, this is what I'm speaking about. So apparently this has been going on for some time. Yes. Apparently many persons have experienced this. And to be honest with you, this is the first time we're hearing about it after following reports and then reaching out to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and them saying, yes, we have had one incident, and we're saying we're encouraging residents to be vigilant. It is quite a daunting turn of events.
Oh, indeed, Ron. I mean, obviously, the BVI, as we keep saying, as we all know, is a very small, close-knit community. I mean, you have incidents of such happening in the BVI. It's very alarming. I mean, you know, everyone is a cousin, a brother, a friend, a family member, something of that nature. And you obviously want the best for your family. We have persons who are up in wee hours in the morning, 5 a.m., just trying to exercise and keep in shape or get in shape, and to have to be tackling the possibility of an attack, especially on females, is very, very alarming and concerning. I hope that, you know, this perpetrator or perpetrators are basically apprehended as soon as possible, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, a life can go in a flash, or even yet a situation can change someone's life forever. So, you know, we don't want situations where someone is, as a result, suffers in any form or fashion as a result of those lawless perpetrators, basically, who should be off the streets of the territory.
I want to take this opportunity to also employ the general public to speak up when it comes to this matters. As you mentioned, Kamal, we are a small community and people just like to talk about some nonsense, but listen, this is not nonsense. If you have experienced something like this, if you know of someone who have experienced the same way you talk about people, the same way you would share propaganda, this ain't propaganda. Bring it to the platform, because in this case, this is the only way we as a news agency were made aware of it and then contacted the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and then them verifying and saying, yes, we received a report. Outside of that, we would not have known of that. So we do implore you to continue to speak up on matters that are absolutely relevant to the safety and security of all Virgin Islanders. Viewers, up next, St. Lucian native has been named as the new BVI Airports Authority boss, and the opposition leader, the Honorable Marlon A Penn, pays tribute to stalwart businessman Clarence C. Thomas. These and more stories after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, St. Lucian Kurt Minal has been named as the new managing director of the BVI Airports Authority. But this was confirmed in a media release from the Airports Authority today, Tuesday, January 25th, which said that Minal commenced his duty as the new airport's boss yesterday, Monday. Minal is said to have more than 25 years of experience in the aviation industry, with his most recent role being the former Deputy General Manager at the Airports Authority in Trinidad and Tobago. He also attained the highest ranking position in the aviation industry in his homeland, St. Lucia, which was the Acting Chief Aviation Officer at the Ministry of External Affairs, Trade and Civil Aviation in the government of St. Lucia. Minal also holds a Master's of Science degree together with several relevant certifications, such as the International Airports Professional designation. The holder of this designation is recognized by Airports Council International and the International Civil Aviation Organization, which is the ICAO, as having achieved highly rigorous standards of expertise in the field of airport management. Obviously, this is some good news for the BVI Airports Authority, as they now have someone certified and basically appointed at the head. We do know we had Mr. Smith, who was the acting for some time.
You mean Mr. Flax?
Mr. Flax, sorry, who was the acting for some time, but before him we had Clive, who was also there prior. Ultimately, they've made a decision to go forward now with the Mr. Minal, who has somewhat of a quarter century of experience, basically, to hopefully take the Airports Authority in the direction of, I guess, what the government would have in mind.
Indeed. Viewers, continuing on the local scene, in a recent Facebook post, leader of the opposition and District 8 representative, the Honorable Marlon A Penn, paid tribute to stalwart businessman Clarence C. Thomas, who passed away on January 21st, 2022. Now, Mr. Thomas, 86 years, was well known for his contribution towards the business community in providing empire-building initiatives that allowed Virgin Islanders a door to small businesses and a number of philanthropic efforts, both through his business and the Rotary Club of Tortola. Penn began by extending his condolences to the family of the late Clarence C. Thomas by stating, and I quote, "As leader of the opposition and a district representative, and more so as a family friend, it is with great sorrow that I express my deepest condolences to the entire Thomas family." He then alluded to his wife, Miss Mabel, his children, Thomas, Michael, Neil, David, and Jacqueline. "We mourn with you on the passing of a devoted family man, a man of integrity, a visionary, and of course, a nation builder, Mr. Clarence Thomas, OBE." Now, Honorable Penn spoke about Thomas and his exceptional pioneering businesses in the Virgin Islands, stating, and I quote, "Mr. Thomas was one of our early pioneers who created pathways to sustain and maintain the economic growth of our country. In 1967, he started one of the first plumbing companies in the BVI. Truly a man of vision. He later expanded that business to offer goods and services in all facets of the construction industry. It is often said that the strength of a nation depends, he said, on the strengths of its people. I will particularly remember the strong business he possessed, which contributed to the success of his business. Mr. Thomas was a living icon and a successful entrepreneur. His model business skills were passed down to his sons, Michael and David, who in following in his footsteps, relocated and expanded the establishment to Fish Bay in 2015 as a superstore and lumberyard. His philosophical beliefs, he said, and life work were further demonstrated as a Rotarian. Being one of the early members of the Rotary Club of Tortola, he personified the motto, service above self, and one profits most who serves best. Mr. Clarence Thomas helped to build our territory through his selfless acts of love. He created opportunities to enable a better future for countless citizens and residents. We will forever be grateful for his significant contributions to our territory. That was a statement by the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Marlon A Penn. Of course, Kamal, since the passing of Mr. Thomas, tributes have been pouring in. This is one that we came across from one of our legislative members who really are putting it into perspective, the service that this BVI Stalwart has contributed.
Indeed, and not only Honorable Penn, as we would have seen if you across social media, a number of other legislators would have taken the initiative basically to speak on the legacy he have left, you know, for his children, for everyone here in the territory, because, you know, even the Clarence Thomas Limited, we know it of it as a staunch institution here in the BVI where you can go and purchase a lot of different stuff. A lot of person would basically know of the name but not know of the person.
Correct.
And ultimately that is what legacy is all about, you know. For years to come, decades to come, I'm sure that is all persons remember him for basically setting the blueprint for a lot of other businesses to follow here in the territory as well.
Absolutely, and particularly the younger generation, because for someone of Mr. Thomas's age demographic, the younger generation, as you said, will know of Clarence Thomas just by going there and hearing the name, but to put a face and a legacy to this company, I think is essential.
And I'm sure ultimately, as you would have seen with other stalwarts in the territory who would have passed, government taking initiative to rename some institutions or some buildings or even a road or something of that nature against in honor of him as well. And I think I'm sure that will happen, if not with this administration, probably with the next or so, but I'm sure when you have pioneers like this that contribute so much for the territory, bringing in so much revenue for the economy, something has to be done to officially recognize such persons for their contribution to the BVI.
I want to add one thing before we go on to the next story. Thankfully, before his passing, Mr. Thomas was awarded the Order of the British Empire, which I believe is a significant award that really exemplifies persons who have contributed significantly. But outside of his contribution in introducing persons to plumbing, I must commend, and when you look at the business community, CTL Home Center is responsible for employing a number of persons within the community. And I think essentially that should be a part of his legacy as well, gaining and giving and providing employment to Virgin Islanders and residents.
And when you talk about giving also too, we have to remember that he played a part, or his family played a part in assisting the Almostout High School.
Of course.
Especially after the hurricanes, you know, by, you know, even though it's rent that has to be paid, it's a smaller share than I assume a normal person or a normal business would have to pay for such. And that is also in giving back to the society, giving back to the community, ensuring that there's a continuity of education, especially among those persons that would have benefited from being able to learn in that environment. It's not the most conducive environment, but at the same time, something is better than nothing at all. And as you said, he was a man that obviously gave back a lot to the society, and that is a prime example of such, because today, you know, the children are basically still there until a permanent structure is built for them to then move out of the old CTL building.
Indeed.
Well, viewers, up next, the dollar will not be affected, nor will ties sever with the United Kingdom if the BVI becomes independent. And which plan should be used for the Almostout High School? Former and present legislators debate on what is appropriate. Viewers, all this when 284 News return.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Bojangara, Jackson Lake, not forgetting Anigata. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Well, welcome back, viewers. Well, senior opposition legislator Julian Fraser has said that if the BVI becomes an independent territory, his currency will not be affected, nor will its ties with the United Kingdom cease. Well, Fraser made a statement during a recent session in the House of Assembly as he responded to rumors which he said has been circulating across the BVI for some time. But a member for the 3rd District called on all elected officials to promote more civics in the territory as he believes it is an element that is presently lacking in the BVI. Take a listen.
We are not promoting civics like we should in this territory. We have to promote civics like we should. We have to let people know the importance of government. We have to let them know what the function of government is. And we have to let them know what their responsibility is as a citizen is to the development of this country. People talk things like this, Mr. Speaker. They talk things like this, and this is to show you how misguided they are. They said, if we go independent, what happens to the dollar? Ain't got much. They ask the question, what happens to the dollar? Nothing will happen to the dollar. The dollar stays just where it is in your pocket. There's no correlation between independence and the dollar.
Well, Fraser also made special reference to the island of Barbados, which recently transitioned to a republic after seeking independence from Britain in 1966. Well, he said, similar to the case of Barbados, the BVI will continue to have a good relationship with the United Kingdom.
People talk about if we go independent. We're dumping the UK. We're not dumping the UK. I'm sure you've seen that Barbados, after independence in the 60s, 63, somewhere around there, has just the other day decided to become a republic. That's when they dumped the United Kingdom. And that's only severing their ties with the crown as their sovereign leader. But they're going to have a healthy relationship with the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom is still going to have their embassy in Barbados. They're still going to give them financial aid, whether they ask for it or not. They give those independent countries far more money than they give us. What we are simply looking for, Mr. Speaker, is to be able to call ourselves as individuals, as human beings, truly free. Truly free in the sense that you are not beholden to another man.
Well, the senior legislator also said that nothing has significantly changed from the time he was a child, adding that most of the traditional holidays and other events which derive from the UK are still a staple in the BVI.
It's the job of the government to promote this, if they so believe in this, if they so desire. It's their job. You're telling me, Mr. Speaker, when I was a child, quite a while ago, my parent would speak of Coronation Day, Empire Day, Commonwealth Day. And here we are, I am here. And we're still telling our children about these things. Mr. Speaker, the responsibility that we have is a huge one. But we tend to decide to just let it slide. We're letting it slide and living life as if it doesn't matter.
Well, viewers, that was the member for the 3rd Electoral District, the Honorable Julian Fraser.
Viewers, closing out on the local scene, the subject of the previously approved plans not being used in the rebuilding of the Elmore Stout High School has been the topic of conversation among public forums within the past weeks, with both former and present legislators weighing in on the matter as well as residents. In a recent Facebook post, former Education Minister Marlon A. Penn once again took to social media and encouraged lawmakers to do what is in the best interest of taxpayers by revisiting previously approved plans for the completion of the rebuilding of the Elmore Stout High School. Penn, while showing clear visuals of the previously approved plans, said, and I quote, "Education is the axis upon which everything else in a country turns. The delivery of that service is to our young people in particular requires careful and deliberate thought. We will only have one chance to redevelop ESHS in a manner that provides the best learning environment for our children. Let us put down the politics and deliver something that we can be proud of. The plan on top is the plan that was approved by the Caribbean Development Bank in 2017, which included a state-of-the-art auditorium, gymnasium, cafeteria, state-of-the-art science labs, and so forth, classrooms outfitted with smart boards and other technological learning devices, teachers' lounge, training rooms, etc. The $13 million education reform intervention also included a new primary school for the Brigado Flags Educational Center in Virgin Gorda. That plan also exists, he said. The one below is the new plan that was developed. Now, he closed the new plan, as you can see on the screen. He closed by saying, I humbly suggest that we take another look at what we are about to do. Let us incorporate the best of both plans if necessary, but deliver something that would serve the needs of our community for the next 3 decades. This is not the first time Penn has shared his thoughts on the situation. He previously penned, "We must," and I quote, "we must get to the point of political maturity where we build on work that was done by previous governments. We must choose saving taxpayers' resources over political expediency. A comprehensive plan of the redevelopment of ESHS was done by the NDP way before the hurricanes of 2017. Now, in addition to that, he concluded the CDB would have been very much involved in the project, even to the point of doing capacity building for our educators. Let's start to think country and not self. Resurrect the existing plans and make the requisite amendments. In addition to that, time to drop the old politics. Haven't we learned anything from the Commission of Inquiry?" Now, Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Marlon A Penn, also spoke publicly on the matter, saying, and I quote, "Government is wasting taxpayers' money with the ESHS redevelopment plans since a solid plan already exists." Penn said, "What I would say is that government is a continuum, and the monies that we spend in government are the people's funds, and I think we need to be a bit more responsible as it pertains to how we are allocating those funds." Now, of course, viewers, the Honorable Minister for Education, the present Minister for Education, the Honorable Dr. Natalia Wheatley, really alluded, Kamal, to the fact that the previous plans presented by the National Democratic Party were not up to par. They were not strong enough to resist hurricanes. He also questioned the amount of glass that was included in the plans. In addition to that, he really said that they did consider, essentially, he said that they did consider the plans, but they did not deem it suitable to continue. Now, we, of course, did a poll on our website, which allowed persons to really give their personal feedback on their thoughts, community members, educators, residents. So far, 6%, the question rather, was, as a resident, do you agree with the recreating of the ESHS plans? Here you see both plans on the screen. 6% says yes, 39% says no, and 14% are undecided. Kamal, as we have spoke about before in our newscast, this has been a conversation that keeps coming up, a bit of back and forth between lawmakers and former lawmakers as it pertains to the using of a former plan. At the end of the day, I do think that the holistic approach of making sure that the institution that is built is one that is worthy for our students. And I think, to be honest with you, at this point, perhaps we should simply include the general public's concerns and see whether or not they think there should be a recreating of the plan, or maybe they think that absolutely you should stick with the one before. I think it should include some reflection from the residents and educators of the territory.
Ultimately, the minister did say that, you know, they're at a stage where they will just move on right now with what they presently have. But viewers, that's all we have for today's newscast. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow. Have a terrific Tuesday. Have a terrific rest of the day. Bye-bye.